Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.
Wherever it is you're joining us from in Nigeria and across the world, this is how we present the joy of stepping into a new year. 2024 may only be a few hours old now, but who says joy can be measured? From us at Enterprise TV, it's Happy New Year. On Enterprise Morning today, we trace the big question of what exactly to expect in 2024, from insecurity to the economy to corruption. Will the new year be the same of same? I am Henry Igwebiki. I am being joined in the studio today by Mr. Elvis Elimihele and Olajumoke Alawode James. Well, welcome to 2024.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to us all.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to us all.
We're excited to be here.
Exactly. Exactly. So let's do a quick retrospect. Of course, looking into the future from the past. And there are three prominent issues all of us to talk about here: corruption, infrastructure, and security. We can call it a tripod. All right, so the question now is, just give us a backstory from the last 7+ months since the inauguration and getting into 2024. What can we say about corruption? Have we been able to level that at the ground level?
Not really. We are still seeing the president, trying to stamp his feet on that, especially with the Obaze-led panel for the CBN. That's the probe of the CBN. That's a good one. Now that we are in the new year, it should extend such probe to NNPC. Should extend it to that Ministry of Humanitarian that was headed by Umar Farouk Sodia, that woman during the past administration of Buhari. It should also extend it to NIMASA as under Nigeria Port Authority. Then what stops it? It should also extend it to Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria. We saw that it has changed the management of almost all the management in airport aviation. So we want him to look into some of these ministries. Then he should not forget Malami, the former Minister for Justice and Attorney General of the Federation. There are so many things to be unearthed in some of these ministries and parastatals. As we enter the new year 2024 now, we want to see the president, raising the bar in fighting corruption. Number one. Okay. It's very, very important. Because if he stops at the level it is now, everybody will say, oh, because Emefiele was not part of his group, that the corruption that Emefiele being chased up and down, his incarceration and all that is vendetta. Yeah. So to curb that, we want to see him extend this corruption fight against corruption in Nigeria to other ministries and parastatals.
Yes, they say charity begins at home. Let's take a bit dive into the supplementary budget, that was passed by the president. Do you think that corruption, because if we are to tame corruption, do you think coming from the supplementary budget, there is something in the offing that it's possible for us to fight corruption starting from there? I'd love to have your thoughts on that.
Well, I have a huge expectation of this government from the very beginning. I thought that President Tinubu himself also has stayed as a godfather. Now, some people said that he's somebody who knows how to pick the right
people for the right job,
the round pegs and the round holes, and I would rather just go the way of Professor Wale Soyinka, who says that we will only start to criticize President Tinubu after his 1 year in office, because I do not have anything good to say, about him. But in terms of your question, that what are the things that he ought to do in terms of fighting corruption and putting the right policies in place, we would expect that they do research and not just think that they know what the people need.
Okay.
Now, you went ahead to present a supplementary budget that most of the things in there, aside from the student loans, most of the things in the supplementary budget really of itself did not engender confidence in his government. You want to buy SUV for your wife, you want to repair the vice president's lodge and the presidential lodge in Lagos, you want to settle TUC, NLC, you want to buy some equipment for the military. Well, that budget was passed. I don't know if they've acquired the equipment to help the military, because see the massacre that happened
in Plateau State
during Christmas. So I have no good expectations of President Tinubu, and I will not start to criticize him until 1 year, because then they would say, is it not Jumoke? She just hates him.
Well, in addition to that, I think he seeked the job and he got it. So if we are waiting till 1 year, there will be so much water will have passed under the bridge. Especially what we are seeing now, insecurity doesn't wait, crime doesn't wait.
Yeah.
We saw this some years ago in Mandala, in Niger State, Christmas Day bombing.
Yes, sir.
In Mandala, in Niger State. So many people lost their lives. We have seen, since that time, what just happened in Boko and Ladi, local government in Plateau State, there's no difference. So because of this, I want the president, even if he's not serious in any other thing, he has to be serious with security. Security doesn't have to wait till 1 year before we start, reminding the president that he's sick for this office and he knows where it is pinching Nigeria regarding security. If there must be any development that is going to take place within the 4 years first 4 years of this administration, security has to be top notch, because where there is anarchy, where there is no peace, there can never be development.
Very
true.
So
I'm not going to wait for 1 year before I start urging him to do the necessary things regarding the security of Nigeria.
Now, let's talk about infrastructure. Since the subsidy removal, it's been alleged that the federal government is saving 9 trillion naira every month. And it's 7 months now, rather, and we've not seen any tangible infrastructural development in Nigeria. Do you think we expect to see something going forward, especially as we are right now in 2024?
I thought they said they were saving 1 trillion per month. Maybe at the beginning, in June, I didn't realize that it had gone all the way to 9 trillion a month. That's a huge amount of money. And in fact, I remember saying it that if you were saving all the monies that you used to spend for fuel subsidy, why did you even need a supplementary budget?
True.
But then again, a huge chunk of the amount of monies being saved from not subsidizing fuel is also now being spent on welfareism, where they said for 3 months we're going to pay 15 million families 25,000 naira a month. That's also in trillions. So you say we will not subsidize, which would have been subsidy for the entire country. Some other people will say and surrounding countries, because a lot of our
we're big brother after all.
Yes, no, because a lot of it is even siphoned and ferried outside our shores where petroleum products are more expensive. They don't have scarcity, they pay more for their fuel. But again, you cannot compare us, because we have crude oil, they do not. But coming back to the question, so you refuse to subsidize fuel for the entire population, but then you now start to give a few people who can no longer afford a good standard of living. You now start to give them 25,000 per month, which really keeps them poor, because that's even below our poverty line, to be honest with you. What does 25,000 do for anyone in Nigeria today? Again, there's the argument of that people, the extremely poor in our villages, that 5,000 naira is a lot of money, particularly if it's just to keep them alive, just to eat. right? Some of those people, they do not even have electricity, so they're not buying diesel, they're not buying petrol, they're going from their farms back home. It's pretty much staying alive, food for them to eat. So 5,000 naira is huge for someone in a far-flung village up north. Then imagine giving them times 5, you know. Yes, I do agree that for some families, 25,000 might be a huge amount of money, but the scheme itself, who is monitoring that these families are actually getting these amounts of money and somebody is not siphoning
it?
Also, remember since the money started rolling in now from the when the subsidy has been removed now, more money starts rolling in. The state governors have been getting so much from what we are seeing that is being shared now. Federal allocation. Yes.
Is it that more money has been rolling in? I disagree in that regard because it is more, we are spending less.
You're spending less,
yes,
and saving more.
We are saving more.
Spending less for more to come into the coffers of the federal account for this to be distributed. That's because the subsidy is no longer being paid for. You see what they've been sharing now as federal allocation to states. Now the big question is, how are the state governors, who are also closer to the people, spending this money in their respective states? Then we still see that even some states have not gotten palliative since the removal of this fuel subsidy. And the governors have so much in their kitchen as far as money is concerned in the coffers of the states. So the people in the various respective states have to hold their governors accountable. And the federal government should also at least find a way to set a benchmark that state governors must be able to do so and so. Because I saw the president talking about local government and all of that should galvanize and join him to make the country livable for everybody. I think that was yesterday he made that statement.
Yeah.
But as it is, I want him to also talk to his governors. Because you can't just pick this money in Abuja and spend it at Jamboree when the people that are suffering the removal of subsidy are not benefiting from it.
No, they talk to the governors as their friend, their colleague, or give matching orders.
No, not as matching order. This is democracy, but they should be able to talk to the governors as colleagues and friends, as partners in progress. Because if this government achieves more, President Tinubu's name will be remembered at all times. Okay. So he should talk to them as partners in progress to move the country forward. Whatever infrastructure, whatever progress this government made throughout these 4 years of Tinubu's name will not be forgotten.
Okay, so you mentioned infrastructure.
Yes.
And I do not want to preempt your next question, but after looking at the 2024 appropriation bill, and a huge chunk of it is to pay debts.
Yes.
A huge chunk of it is for recurrent
expenditure. Yeah.
We saw that health and education, as usual. I was hoping that this government would do the zero budgeting where you start from scratch. President Buhari promised us that in 2015.
Yeah, true.
It never happened. So as usual, carrying over from what they inherited from the Buhari administration, you have budgeted a huge chunk, a huge chunk for salaries and allowances for yourselves, and a very little percentage for education and health. To the extent that you are hoping that UNESCO, WHO are the ones who come in and aid education and health, and so we will take care of ourselves. I'm not particularly expectant, like I mentioned, that infrastructure will improve in 2024. Just looking at the appropriation bill, just looking at the facts on ground.
True. Now let's talk about politics here, because obviously there's a thin line between politics and development. What we are getting to see right now is what people would call a one-party state that is gradually encroaching into Nigeria. Everybody's tilting towards APC suddenly. People who were in the opposition are beginning to fancy APC a little bit. And President Tinubu is not helping matters. What do you think, and how do you think that would go forward in the future? And what could be the effect of purportedly having a one-party state in Nigeria?
No, that is left with the political parties. The political parties at this stage must begin to form coalition and alignment. They have to.
Really?
Yes, the political parties that just contested this election have to know that they have a responsibility to check and balances for this government,
Okay.
especially when it comes to policies being dished out. They should have a shadow government. It's not a government that are coming to overthrow President Tinubu. Every policy that this government is setting out, they should be able to analyze it. We are talking in the studio this morning, 1st of January 2024.
Yes.
Trying to let Nigerians know what we are talking about.
Exactly.
What
We're
is
expecting.
Yeah.
for the year
For the
2024.
year.
Nigerians should be able to follow up. Then the political parties must be able to. One of the functions of political party in our local, in our elementary government is to educate the electorate. They should be able to. They have words. They have constituencies.
Exactly. Realism.
Or idealism.
No.
Because political parties here do not have ideologies.
No, I
They
mean,
have political platforms.
if-
If you do not get primaries here, you jump to the next one.
Jumoke, the question he raised is one party state. For us not to find ourselves in one party state, the political parties must redouble their efforts.
Okay.
One of these is to begin to form alliance and begin to educate the electorate on the policies of this present government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, especially now that we just entered the new year. Because
Okay.
Nigerians cannot suffer. I mean,
8
the
years.
hardship of Buhari for 8 years
And have a carryover,
into this
yeah.
government. I mean, I don't know how many Nigerians will survive the next 4 years
Maybe
if we have
the
to carry
reason I'm
on.
afraid or I'm a little reluctant to agree with Elvis is because he keeps on saying form alliance, right? Because I thank God for the Labour Party and its 2023 presidential candidate. You are asking that political parties, form a shadow government. Peter Obi is on every policy. He's on every issue that the Tinubu administration dishes out. He speaks to them immediately. Oh, that there's an opposition party should behave. There's a bombing in Plateau State. It speaks about the loss of life and what he thinks the government ought to be doing. We are going to buy yacht. He comes to criticize it. That rather than extending your own expenditure, you should be saving more money to put into infrastructure. So I do not know about the PDPO.
Jumoke, it should be more.
But thank God for the Labour Party.
Those policies analysis that Obi is doing and criticism should be more than Obi. We should see Labour Party, not Obi. Obi was just a candidate of Labour Party for 2023 general election. It's possible
Where
that
was
the next
Labour Party
election
before Obi now?
No. It's possible that the next election Obi might not be the presidential
We
candidate.
agree.
Then there's PDP. Look at what happened during the alliance of APC and new PDP and CPC in 2014-2015 that bullied Jonathan out of office. The spokesperson of the APC was Lai Mohammed. He was everywhere criticizing every policy of Jonathan and his government. Now we want to see these political parties and their spokesperson having such formidable public relation officer to tell Nigerians to analyze the policies of APC. No, not like, if that is what will take us out of one party says, we have to do it.
No, but you saw what happened during the Yuletide holidays. All the governors, the ones that you were saying that Tinubu's colleagues, they went to go and party. You think it's about the masses that they were discussing over jollof rice?
Somebody should remind them that that act is. Even though they can be with the president because politics is gone, this is governance, but they should not.
Governance in Tinubu's house in Lagos.
They should not leave their.
They are being very idealistic. Let's go.
They should not leave their track. They should not their track, especially those opposition party governors that were there. They can come and felicitate with the president on this Yuletide period, but they should have their own mantra that they should be able to tell the present administration this is the direction of my party.
But the reality on ground is knowing the tendency of Bola Ahmed Tinubu and what is often expected from him. The issue is how possible is it for the opposition to keep remaining opposition and strong opposition when he is out there trying to buy every
See what is
party and every individual.
Former Governor Wike. all right, and his political godson in Rivers State, rather than focus on governance in Abuja.
Exactly.
Right? Wike is concerned with what is happening in Rivers State. So yes, I see the fear for a one-party system. We the people, we are the main opposition though, which is why when you're talking about Labour Party, where was Labour Party before Peter Obi? One individual. We the people who are the opposition must never forget to speak out at all times, because it is then only that we can hold every government, plus President Tinubu himself, plus all our governors, because you know the governors get away with blue murder
with a lot, yeah.
Because everybody's looking at the center. Oh, the money for crude oil. Oh, all our exclusive lists. We forget to hold the governors who are supposed to have security votes and huge chunks of money passed by state house of assemblies every year. We forget to hold them accountable for the billions they are also passing. How are they spending the allocations they are receiving from Abuja? You know, so we the people, the masses, the hungry ones, the poor ones, the ones that did not get rice and chicken during
and
the
8,000
are the ones that
and 50%
must never
slash.
forget that the government are civil servants and they must serve the people.
Exactly. There is a big need for leaders to serve the people and for Nigerians to hold our leaders accountable for every action. I'd love to say a big thank you to my guests today. 1st of January 2024, Olajumoke James, thank you so very much for being part of our show. And Mr. Elvis Elimihele, thank you so very much for also being part of our show. Happy New Year to us all. And to my audience, I'd love to say thank you so very much for making it an awesome time today, 2024, January 1st. On behalf of the entire team of Enterprise TV, I'd love to say welcome to 2024. But please do remember to follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Enterprise TV7. Press the notification bell so you get notified whenever we drop our contents. I am Henry Igwebike. I'll see you.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.